One of the big things that I get asked quite a bit from people that don't have the Nintendo Switch 2 but are very much looking to buy it is, should I pick it up now at this point, or should I wait for the leaked Legend of Zelda Switch 2 system that is going to happen? Like, that's just something, it was leaked, we talked about it, it's going to happen. But there is also a price increase that's coming on September 1st. So it's coming up here in a couple of weeks. So in this video, I'm going to break down the option of what you should do based off of that and what's happening, in addition to a bunch of other great Nintendo Switch 2 news. But before we continue, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at 140,000 subscribers or on September 1st, whichever comes first. Subscribe, like, comment. The winner will be chosen at random, and it's a worldwide giveaway. Thanks, peeps. Okay, so we know that the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 is going up. Nintendo stated this back in May that it's going to be going up $50 here in the US, and it's going up worldwide. Japan already got its price increase. Other regions have gotten price increases for it, but it's going up $50 here in the US on September 1st. So it goes from $450 to $500. At certain demo kiosks, Nintendo was even warning people ahead of time, saying the suggested retail price of the Nintendo Switch 2 system will increase to $499.99 on September 1st. So I think that out of all of the companies that are doing the price increases, this is probably the best handled one. They let us know back in May, so about a 4-month heads up plus or so. And then on top of that, they're also letting us know right now, like, hey, if you want to get it, pick it up at this point. But there is this pending September situation that's going on, which I do believe that in September there's going to be a 40th anniversary stream or a 40th anniversary Legend of Zelda direct or something, or there's going to be a Nintendo Direct with the Legend of Zelda 40th anniversary stuff in there. And I think that it was intentionally timed for September, because with the price increase to $500, people are thinking, man, I don't want to buy it, $500, that makes it less desirable at a higher price point. But if you actually have content that will give you something huge that people will want to pick up, like let's say Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you get the first information, first real details of the game and different types of games that are coming out, and you just blow people away with that game and maybe another reveal or two. I think it becomes much better for people to be like, okay, well, I'll go and buy it for that. But what's happening with that system? Should you wait for that system? Well, remember, the Switch 2 base is going to be $500 now at this point. So if it's a special edition system, there's going to be a tacked on cost on top of that. So usually with the Nintendo Switch 1, when you got the OLED systems, if there was a special theme system, they would price it about, I think about $10 to $20 above what the MSRP was for the standard system, the standard OLED. So will that be the same thing here? Will we see like $510 or $520 for a Legend of Zelda 40th anniversary Nintendo Switch 2 system? It could be, or it could be a bit above that. We don't know what bundles or packages are they planning on including a digital version of the game in the package. I mean, they could do that, but since it's a Legend of Zelda 40th anniversary theme system and not an Ocarina of Time theme system, I don't think they're going to include a digital version of any type of games or anything like that. I don't think it's going to come with anything. I think it's just going to be the themed system itself. So we'll see what the price is. Now, I've estimated anywhere between $10 to $50 more above what the MSRP is of the standard base Nintendo Switch 2. So you could be looking at, once again, $510 plus tax, all the way up to $550 plus the tax on there. So we will see. We don't really know at this point. And I do believe it was methodical, and also I would say the best serving sales wise, because you gave people plenty of time to say, okay, let me have a little bit of FOMO here and let me go out there and buy it. And Nintendo actually recorded the best Q1 sales that they've ever had, because that was lined up pretty much with the price increase announcement. That was the best Q1 that they've had since 2021. It's the second best. The only better time that they had was COVID time, kind of, or something like that, right around then, when it was blowing up with the different sales of Animal Crossing and different games and all of that. It was 2020, then stretching to 2021. If you look at what they did here, I think that was brilliant. Because, for example, Sony, they announced a price increase earlier in the year, and they only give people less than a week. That doesn't give a ton of time for people to go out there and buy the system, whereas Nintendo's giving people plenty of time for that FOMO, so they had a good stretch of sales. But the big thing is, what are you going to do after that? And I think that's where the strategy and planning is better, because they line it up with September. And in September, I think there's going to be something to where it's going to entice people to say, okay, even though there was a price increase, we have this Legend of Zelda system, we have this 40th anniversary Pro controller that's coming, we have Ocarina of Time that's coming, we also have probably another big third-party game that we don't know about that's been probably announced, but Nintendo hasn't announced it for their system yet. Let me give you guys a little bit of history with this, because this is something that we talk about on our streams, and this is something that a lot of people do not discuss. I haven't seen content creators talk about this. Every single major direct that we've gotten since the Switch 2 was launched, there's been some type of big, oh my gosh, that game's coming to Switch 2 day and date. They've done this a couple of times now. We got it at the September 2025 Nintendo Direct. It was Resident Evil Requiem. At the June 2026 Direct, it was Kingdom Hearts 4. So yes, there's a bunch of other third-party games that gets announced that's cool too, but there's usually some type of big or massive third-party game. It's becoming a pattern now, to where we don't know that it's coming to Switch 2, but they announced that it's coming. So I'm guessing that in September, when they have that next big direct, they're going to have Ocarina of Time, and they're going to have a bunch of information on that, but they're also going to have some type of big announcement of a third-party game that we didn't know previously that was coming, that will be coming day and date to the system. So I think that if you do that, on top of another one more thing, because I don't think Zelda will be the one more thing, since that's already been announced. I think they're going to announce something else that's maybe set for next year. That's going to be the one more thing. I think that's enough to say, okay, it's $50 more, but it's still, when it comes to current systems, still one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest current system on the market. You can still play anywhere that you want. It still comes like with a dock and all the cables to easily go back and forth. It's got a growing library of games. It's got a backwards compatible list that's awesome. It's got a bunch of really good games from Switch 1 that are enhanced, play better. You've got boost mode, you've got game chat, you've got all these different things that make the Switch 2 significantly better than the Switch 1. Like, it is a nice generational jump. I think it's one of the biggest jumps that I've ever seen for Nintendo. And I've criticized Nintendo's jumps, like when it comes to what happened with Wii U to Switch 1, or when it comes to certain stuff like that, even like DS to 3DS, I mean, there was jumps, but this to me is the most significant jump that I've seen when it comes to playability, backwards compatibility, what they can do with the game and the system. Like, to me, it's by far, I would say, out of playability and adaptability and everything, probably Nintendo's best system ever made. It's one of the best constructed systems, if not the best. I put it right up there with like the GameCube, the Super Nintendo. This is probably their best in the modern era. I think by far. I have less issues when it comes to Switch 2 and adaptability or backwards compatibility and other things than I've ever had. Like with the Wii U having to pick up, Wii remotes to play games. I can't use the Wii U gamepad to play stuff. It's like really weird, disconnected stuff that I've seen before when it comes to Nintendo's feature set and stuff. But Switch 2 is probably the most seamless, easiest transition and the biggest jump that we've seen in a while. So I do believe that it's worth that. I don't like price increases. You're never going to see me advocate. And even back when they announced that, I said it's a bad price increase. Now, yes, we have the AI crisis that it's going through now. When it comes to that, the RAM crisis, we have tariffs. That's still a thing. Yes, they got a refund check, but it's still boosted over what it was before. We got inflation. There's all sorts of stuff, but I still do not like it and will never advocate for higher price games, like $80 games. I'll never advocate for higher prices for consumers out there. But I do believe that out of all the systems on the market, Switch 2 to me offers significantly good value for what you get. So if you're someone that hasn't picked it up yet, and I'm not just saying that just to say it, I'm saying that because I actually play the games. I'm actually there. I have everything. I have a PS5 Pro. I bought that at $700. I have an Xbox Series X. I bought that at $500. That is now $800 or $750 to $800 for a Series X. I got one in 2020 for $500. I got two PS5s in 2020 for $500, and I have a PS5 Pro that I picked up in 2025 right before the price increase. The first one for $700, and then I had to buy an $80 disc drive because all of my games are physical. So that was pretty much $800 for that. And I would say Switch 2 comfortably is one of the best values, one of the best bang for your buck. So if you're someone that hasn't picked up a Switch 2 yet, I recommend probably getting one. If you don't care about a 40th anniversary Legend of Zelda system, I recommend getting it now at this point and save that $50 and put that towards something else. Or there is a choose your game bundle, which we don't know what's going to happen with that choose your game bundle. There's no like guarantee, like Nintendo just says while supplies last. I'm starting to see that less and less. Now you can still find it on Amazon. It's still at some places, but whenever I go to Walmart and I go past the game aisle, I just see the standard Nintendo Switch. So that might start being phased out here. So if you can take advantage of that choose your game bundle that comes with either Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon Pokopia, or Mario Kart World, go ahead and get that, because that's $500. That's the same price as what the Switch 2 is going to be in a couple of weeks. This is the time that I'm recording this video. So I recommend that. Now, of course, if you're watching this afterwards, then you can make your decision then. Legend of Zelda 40th Anniversary System, that will be announced. You can wait and get it then, because it looks pretty good. Based off the leaks that we've got here, it looks pretty good. Or you can just go ahead and pick up the base, because I'm pretty sure that Legend of Zelda system will be more expensive. It has to be more expensive than the base. I mean, if they made it the same price, then obviously pick that up. But I just don't think that's going to happen with that. So that's kind of my thoughts when it comes to everything that people are talking about there, kind of bringing some of the live stream conversations over to the dedicated videos. But I wanted to move into another thing, and that's Pokemon Pokopia. So we've got some interesting information and data from what happened there, because Nintendo announced the best sellers for the Nintendo Switch 2 recently, and you can kind of see what people are playing. What are the games that people are playing, what people think are good, and we have a list of about 7 games here. We have Mario Kart World. I'm going to put up the screenshot here so you guys can see it. 15 million plus. Donkey Kong Bonanza at 4.78 million. Pokemon Legends ZA, Pokemon Pokopia, Kirby Air Riders, Super Mario Party, Jamboree, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And the way that Nintendo does this is kind of interesting, because if it's a Switch 2 patch, so for example, if someone buys a Switch 1 game then buys the Switch 2 patch, it doesn't count as a Switch 2 game. So like Pokemon Legends ZA has probably sold way more Switch 2 editions with that $10 edition, but they don't count that. So it's just kind of crazy there. But also with Pokemon Pokopia, they don't count any game that's not published by Nintendo. So Pokemon Pokopia sales are split. Here in the West, it's published by Nintendo. But in Japan and in certain other parts, it's published by the Pokemon Company. So they don't count the sales of the Pokemon Company published Pokopia. They only count the sales in the US region or in the Western region where Nintendo's the publisher. So on the Nintendo IR, it says that Pokemon Pokopia has sold 3.68 million. But Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, put out a statement recently that Pokemon Pokopia sales have topped 5 million units. So that would put it not at number 4, where it's on the Nintendo's IR page. That would actually put it at number 2, the second bestseller overall on the Switch 2 so far. That would put it at that. That would put it above Donkey Kong Bonanza's 4.78 million. So it's just interesting how Nintendo does things. Almost too honest to a fault when it comes down to it. But yeah, Pokemon Pokopia over 5 million units, second bestseller on the Nintendo Switch 2, which is interesting, because what does that tell you about what's coming up? If Pokemon Pokopia, a spin-off game, can sell 5 million units plus, and remember, that game came out at the end of March. So in just about 4 months or so, based on Nintendo's tracking, it sold 5 million units, selling 1 million units per month, essentially, when it comes to just like at the rate. Now, obviously, that's not going to keep up. I mean, it's going to slow down when it comes to that. But it is in the Choose Your Game bundle, so there's people picking it up there too. But I do think that that's going to be big news, huge positive news for Pokemon Wins and Waves. If Pokemon Pokopia can do 5 million units in 4 months, Pokemon Wins and Waves is probably going to do double or triple that. Like, I absolutely see Pokemon Wins and Waves selling 10 million units very quickly if Pokemon Pokopia can sell this good, this fast, because it's still a spinoff. It's still not the mainline thing. This doesn't appeal to everybody, but for a spinoff, it's very good. It's at the top of the list of Pokemon spinoffs for sales, and I'm pretty sure it will be the best-selling Pokemon spinoff of all time. So you look at the performance of that and you equate it to, okay, well, how is Pokemon Wins and Waves going to do, considering Pokemon has historically been the best-selling games, or some of the best-selling games on Nintendo platforms. You can go throughout the history of Nintendo systems, and Pokemon is always right there near the top or at the top when it comes to Pokemon. Even Pokemon Legends ZA is right there at 4 million units, and once again, they don't count those Switch 2 patches, so it's actually well above that 4 million units that it's at. So I do believe Pokemon Wins and Waves is going to have a monster launch next year on Switch 2. That's going to be the big system seller. I know that Ocarina of Time, it's going to come out and do some damage, but I fully expect Pokemon Winds and Waves to be that massive system seller, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a themed system, special edition, all of that. There's got to be with that. So yeah, it's very, I would say, positive when it comes to Pokemon to see that it's done over 5 million with just a spinoff. And now at this point, you're going to get that next big hit next year with Pokemon Winds and Waves. So, what do you think about everything that we discussed here with the upcoming price increase, the Legend of Zelda system, plus Pokemon and what's happening there? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.